Today on the grid, our topic is creating award-winning images with our special in-studio gift. Let's take that again. Pretend that didn't happen. Today on the grid, our topic is creating award-winning images with our special in-studio guest, Maribel. There we go. My co-host today, why he flies on Pan Am. He loves gyros with lamb. He loves the Disney parking lot tram, not just Pebbles, but Bam Bam. He's the real Rocket Man. Erik Kuna. He's here with me today. We've got some awesome giveaways, and it all starts in just 30 seconds.
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
One.
Well, I trashed that intro. How about that? That's live TV. It's not even TV. Anyway, welcome. Glad to have you guys here. I'm here. Kuna Man's here. Hey, Kuna.
Hey.
He's over there.
Yeah.
We won't
I'm
see
over
him, but
here.
just pretend he's here.
Hey.
Just.
How's it going?
We decided not to put a camera on him today. So,
Hey.
gosh, there he is. I'm wrong. There he is. And he's taller than me. Here, get up here. Stop it. All right. Anyway, guys, so what we do have is our first in-studio guest in about a year, all right?
Wow.
So we have an amazing, amazing artist with us today, Maribel, who has won the Photoshop World Guru Awards. And there we go. There she is right there. She's on a different set.
Hi.
So we're all different sets. Thank you for joining us. Thanks so much.
I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much.
You are such
that's
an
exciting.
incredible artist. Your work is amazing. I remember seeing your work. I was backstage at the Guru Awards, and when I saw your work come up, I'm just like, oh, come on. I was like, oh, yeah, I knew you were going to win.
Oh my God, I'm so honored. Thank you. I still can't believe I won. I just can't believe it. I've been a student of Kelby 1 for years, and I've been attending Photoshop World, geeking out every time I'm there with my fellow photographers, just having a blast. And I entered the Photoshop Guru Award as a contestant, and I couldn't believe I was a finalist. And then to see my image printed at Photoshop World,
right,
in the gallery was mind-blowing. And then when they called my name as the winner, my jaw hit the floor.
Oh.
And it's probably one of the proudest moments of my career, besides,
All right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
besides being on the grid.
Hey, can I tell you something? Erik and I have both been on the grid. Oh, take a look at this. Look at this. Seriously. And the
Yeah.
way you kept the tones in the image, which is so brilliant.
Yep.
Like the way you didn't let it go to solid, like 100% black.
Black, yeah.
You kept all the tones and all, and it's just, I love an image where you just want to know what the story is, and it just draws you in, and there's so many things right going on here.
Yeah, the composition, the lighting, all that
The
stuff.
everything. It's just, and the contrast.
The contrast in colors. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so what I wanted to go for this, I wanted to hit negative space. I wanted to touch on negative space. I really wanted the image to look clean and just minimal, because I wanted all the attention just to be on the focus, which is myself coming out of that black sheer curtain. And it's interesting because many people, there's so many different interpretations of this image. People say it has a religious undertone. Some say it's about, coming out into yourself, a personal undertone. There's so many ways that this image has hit and has resonated with so many different people. And I'm really touched by that, because it was really, I created this image as a personal reflection of what I was going through. You know how people write in their journals?
Right.
So instead of writing in my journal, I created an image of what I was feeling. And this is what I was feeling. I was coming out into my own, into myself, I guess, after living kind of in the darkness for a while. I wouldn't even say darkness, it's just, you learn, you evolve, you grow as a person, and basically this is what this image represents. It's awakening, and that's what it's called, awakening.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, I remember seeing it on screen. I remember so vividly, and I was just like, because it is that next level image. I mean, yes,
Well, and then seeing it printed too. Was
you put the
other
time
thing,
into
yeah.
it, obviously. And who else under all of those other ones? Friends?
Me.
You're in every one of them?
That's me. All of them are me.
You composited it?
Yes.
Oh, get out. Oh, come on.
Yeah, those are all me.
Oh, now I like it even more.
Yes.
Oh.
Those are all me.
Oh, come on. You did that. You're better than I thought. You're even better. I thought you got friends to do that.
No, and
See, that's the key right there, right? You know, when people composite images and you just immediately tell, like, that's your goal.
did
Your goal
not
is to
know.
fool Scott Kelby.
You are banned from the grid. You may not bring that much talent into this room.
Like,
Eric and I have
that's
been
the
really good
goal.
about keeping the bar really low.
do you guys want to learn? Want to hear something interesting? Do you want to hear what the
Yeah,
lighting
Oh,
is?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I lit that just with window light. There was a big window to my right, and the camera was in front of me, and there was a big window to my right, and that's it, just window light.
Yeah.
And I used a black tablecloth behind me, and I used a black sheer, like chiffon fabric from like a hobby store. That's it.
You know, I had such high hopes for you. When I met you a few minutes before the show, you seemed so nice. And now I'm just not happy. That is, wow. But you know what?
that's
So
it.
our
That's
topic
it.
today is about creating award-winning
Yeah.
images. And hearing this backstory, I love the photo. I would never need to hear what the backstory was. And you know how, like you said, everyone interprets it differently? I interpreted it as you being the Zaxby's chicken sandwich, breaking out from all the other chicken sandwiches. No, of course not. No, but that image stands on its own.
Thank
Just
you.
on it, without any explanation whatsoever.
Well,
But-
that's it. We'll
Right.
get
We're
into
gonna
that.
talk about this topic a
Get
little
into
bit today.
that.
Yes.
But without any explanation whatsoever, it was an award-winning image. I love it even more now. I like the message, but like you said, everyone's going to put their own interpretation on
Absolutely.
it. But I love hearing the backstory of how it was created. As a photographer, so forget the artist in me and in you and, you know, all that, because you are an artist. I mean, you obviously are a photographer. But I mean, I tag people as artists when they have that next level of creativity. When I think
Yeah.
of somebody like,
Yeah.
you know, like I look at your work and I think of you. You're an artist and your paintbrush is the camera. But oh my gosh, let me tell you that hearing that backstory, I love the simplicity of the shot and the
Yep.
simplicity of what you did as far as you lit it with just window light, which is awesome. It must be a north-facing window. Is it facing north?
So the sun was directly overhead of my house, and then the sun reflects off of my neighbor's house, which bounces into my house. So
Well, you can never move.
Yeah, there you go.
You're stuck there.
Yeah.
I hope your property values hold because, I mean, like, you don't
they're
ever
going
want to
up.
move. You don't want to move from there. Just keep getting, like, what are those home equity loans? Just
Yeah,
stay
yeah.
there.
yeah, we're in Florida, so you know.
Wow.
Gotta keep it.
Wow. I hats off to you. That is just,
That's great.
I'm super
you.
blown away.
But see, that's what it takes. It's not always about the equipment. I'm sure you could get into probably what camera you used, and it's not like something crazy.
It doesn't
it's not
matter.
like something
Absolutely.
crazy.
Right, what kind of
lens
camera or brand or settings or
it's
megapixels?
more about like having the thought process of where do I want to frame myself? How do I want everything to look? How do I
Right.
want these repeating patterns to go and
Right.
in that negative space that you designed, so
Yeah.
it's more about that than it is the equipment or the exposure settings or the
Correct.
f-stop or the ISO or the, because that's what we get obsessed with. But really creating award-winning images is not about the technical stuff. It's more about that creative stuff.
Right, and I think what I've learned is, in my journey is, I've learned the rules of photography, learn the rules, and then break them. But break them with intention and with purpose.
Yes.
And break them where there's maybe a message, right? So with this image, I lined the walking out Maribel, almost on the third, rule of thirds. And there's a pattern. Another rule of photography composition is there's a pattern, and then I break it.
Yes.
That's another rule. But within that, I don't think the image would have been as impactful if I didn't have that red lipstick.
Oh, yeah.
Because the red lipstick is pretty much the only pop of color on there against the black.
Yeah.
And I think that adds an element of interest and intrigue, as well as you can see my skin, where in the other images, you cannot see my skin. That's another level of, interest. So just combining all those different elements together, I think creates a kind of impactful, but just an interesting image. It could be simple, but interesting. There's a story behind it. There's intention.
Oh, yeah. And the simplicity is what makes it so wonderful. This would be like if I was teaching a class on composition, this would be the kind of image I would love to show because of, number one, something I talk about. Like even on my current tour, I want to talk about composition and talk about negative space and how important it is. And I love using negative space as a compositional tool. You use the rule of thirds brilliantly, but what you said about breaking the rules is so on the money. It's so
could you
on the money.
maybe go in for the people that don't know like negative space, maybe pulling up the image and like explaining to them what you guys are meaning by negative space, because I think that's a term that like we throw around, but maybe,
you're right. I'm sorry. He's absolutely right. So negative space is generally thought of where there is a part of the image area that's completely empty, and it's empty on purpose to draw your eye to the subject. So it's where you could particularly, like, you might even have a whole sky and then one little piece of a mountain or something, and because negative space doesn't really have to have, it can have something in it, but it's generally an area where there's nothing distracting.
Correct.
And then you have this one image, and it's a device to get your eye immediately drawn to the subject. And the eye, now you have many things that are drawing the eye to the subject. One of them is the placement of the rule of thirds just adds depth to the image. It adds, because a lot of images you put something. Now sometimes the subject belongs in the middle, which is why what you said just a moment ago, Maribel, was really right on the money. We learn the rules, and they're not, by the way, they're not the federal laws of composition. They are rules that we use to get us to a particular place. But once you've learned all the rules, when you break them, you're not breaking them because you don't know what you're doing. You break the rules because you're like, this belongs in the middle, right? And I have a picture that I show in my seminar of a little girl who was on the second story of a building, and I was in like Prague, and I've tried to crop her every which way to Sunday, and it's the only place she looks right is in the middle of the photo. She is dead in the middle of the photo, but it looks perfect. And I know that that's not the rule, but I know what the rule is, and I'm breaking it intentionally. So what you said was right on the money. It's great to know the rules, but there's times where you break the rule intentionally. You did not. You went with the thirds, and it draws your eye. It makes just for a more dynamic image. Right?
Yeah,
putting the image in the center.
Yeah, that's a lot of depth.
But you've done so many things. You've also added the rule of contrast. And our eyes are drawn to the brightest thing in the photo. So look at all the devices that are used. You think this is a simple image, like looking at it. Look at all of the things that you're doing here. Number one, you've got the rule of thirds, which makes it dynamic. Number two is the brightness on you and your skin draws the eye. The red, absolutely, that pop of color really makes a big difference.
Yeah. It's your eye goes there, but then there's so much else going on that's drawing you there, like just the way it's composed.
The contrast, the negative space, but also the way that you have the shades of black that are in there that separate from the background and separate you from the other you.
There's even something else I love is I love that you chose a material that still would transmit some, like you can actually tell that you're underneath the other cloth, because that's very important. If it was just black, it wouldn't work. It has to have that little bit of transparency.
Right. See, I knew it was people. I just didn't know it was you because I'm 150 years old. And I'm looking at across the screen, at the image. And
but it's all those things that go into making an award-winning image. Like you probably had to think through that. Well, maybe I do want to see myself underneath there. I can't just make it like a plastic sheet. It would just be black.
Yeah. And I like the notion of negative space, and I was thinking about, there's another image that I created, almost very similar to this one, and I think you guys have it. It's actually called negative space. As a photographer, I think to myself, how can I do what's already been done countlessly, but do it differently?
Oh, look at that.
So in this image, this is called negative space. And it's called negative space for several reasons. It's negative space because you can clearly see negative space.
Right.
But also it's negative space in, look at my expression. It's negative. It's like I'm not there. I purposely decreased the saturation of my skin tone and made myself almost look porcelain, almost like I'm a porcelain doll. Again, another play on negative space. And you can't really see it on these monitors here. Maybe you can see it at home. But I look like I'm coming out of that negative space.
I could see that.
Yeah, I look like I'm coming out of that negative space. And some people think I'm going into that negative space. So it's negative space emotionally, negative space literally, negative space figuratively, just negative space in so many ways. So I try to capture all the meanings of negative space on one image.
Wow. You have a wonderful sense of tone. Just in general, your use of tone, your post-processing is on the money.
Thank you.
All those years of Photoshop world paid off. Let me tell you, you're just the way you handle your tones. I'm really impressed. All right, so stick around because we have to take a short break here. So real quickly, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about creating award-winning images and entering competitions and things like that. We have some other topics that we're going to wrap around that today that are kind of interesting. We got a bunch of shout-outs. People are watching from all over the world, so we want to say hi to some folks when we come back. But also, I don't know if we've really talked about this. Yeah, we have talked about it a bit. We've talked about our next online conference is called the Outdoor Photography Conference. And I believe we have the official trailer. Are we showing the official trailer?
We have a teaser. We don't have the...
we have a teaser.
We have a teaser for it.
We got a teaser
for it.
It's like a trailer, but shorter. So we're going to show you that, and we'll be back in just a moment with Maribel. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
For over 20 years, leading software developer Boris FX has made its mark on the film and television industry. Now, for the first time, our Academy and Emmy Award-winning visual effects tools are available for photographers. Welcome to Optics. Optics is a collection of 160 filters for Photoshop and Lightroom. Simply apply the effect and launch the interface. Optics features thousands of customizable and creative presets for photo editing and effects layering. Top tools include lens flares for cinematic looks, realistic night skies with star fields and moon generator, add lightning with on-screen interactive control. The Easy Mask tool creates masks with just a few clicks. Optics is available now as a plugin for Photoshop and Lightroom. It includes the standalone application for macOS and Windows. Get Optics now for 15% off. Visit borisfx.com, add Optics to your cart, and apply coupon code KELBY15.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey, we're back. I'm here. The Kuna man's here. The K man's here. And by the way, I just want to mention, last week we showed Erik's his new signature shot. I call it. I keep calling it a signature shot of the boat and the Milky Way and all that. You got to have. Can you show it real quick, just so we have a frame of reference? Because he put it online. He's already selling it. He's already paying. He's already paid.
I paid
for
for
that.
half the toe so far.
He's paid for half the toe.
So half the toe for the truck so far.
Half the toe.
So it's up on the site. ErikKuna.com. You go buy prints.
ErikKuna.com. Wow. That's where it's happening. All right. So anyway, go there and check that out. Now. Oh, and thanks for watching the teaser there for the conference. It's going to be awesome, and we hope that you can join us. Lots more information to come. Have we released all the instructors yet?
No, that's next week.
Okay, we have got the most ridiculous lineup of instructors we've ever had.
Yeah, we got in the final info this week. So
yep, we've got, it is ridiculous. Including some people I've wanted to work with for years, and we're finally getting the chance, and I'm very, very excited. All right, so we have some people. Wait, did we talk about prizes yet?
We have not. We haven't talked about prizes.
Let's do that, and let's say hi to folks, too.
We're giving away some awesome prizes today. Awesome. So we have the Platypod Ultra, which you guys know about if you're watching the show, but it's the best thing since the tripod.
Can't live without it. I love this.
And then,
it's my best friend.
So we're giving that away with the accessory kit. So we also have the accessory kit as well for it. Then we're giving away Scott's new iPhone book, which you did a book chat about that last week. People really loved.
I did get a book chat. Here it is. Yep. It's the #1 new release in photography and digital photography.
Definitely got to check it out. And here's the thing: is if you know somebody who's into iPhone photography and just like wants to take it to the next level, hey, just buy it for them, and then they'll like be your best friend forever. You know, because you're gonna unlock that potential in their iPhone. So. And then we're also giving away Boris FX Optics. So this is a cool plug-in for Photoshop and Lightroom where you can do a bunch of visual effects stuff. So that's what we have given away today. And we got people joining us all over the world. So we've got Judy Lindo over there from New York saying hi. Mike from Albany. Cheeky Nando's in the house all the way across the pond.
Nando.
Then we got Nicole saying hello from Clearwater. We got Hilmar's in the house. So we got Hilmar saying hello. We got Rose over from New Zealand.
Everyone knows Hilmar. Have you noticed that?
Yep.
There is nobody in the world that does not. She should run for some kind of public office because everybody would vote for Hilmar.
That's true.
Everybody knows and loves Hilmar.
And then where were we? So we got Nick King from London. We got Gary Glass from San Diego. June all the way from St. Petersburg, Florida, down the street. And then we got Roy from Albuquerque, Michael from Gaddensburg, Maryland. We've got John from Maryland, Ben from New Zealand as well. And then we've got Jason from Illinois, Ed from Myrtle Beach, Mary from the Twin Cities joining us, Adam from California. So people all over the world joining, all over the country as well. So thanks
nice to have you guys here.
Tuning in.
Well, so today our topic, we're talking quite a bit about creating award-winning images. So I have a couple of questions for you, Maribel, if that's okay.
Oh, sure.
All right. So that the picture that you won the Guru Award in it, have you entered other competitions with that photo?
No. Well, no. But it has been shown in art galleries, and it has been shown in Miami Art Week, nice. Where like Art Basel takes place.
Yep.
And it was the same year that the banana hanging taped to the wall. It was that same year. And I actually sold a big print of that image there. So I'm very excited. I sold a few pieces there as well. So, but that one, very excited.
So you have an award-winning image. It's time to go get some bigger awards, right? I mean, the Guru Awards within the Photoshop community are big, but this is bigger than the Photoshop community, right?
Yeah, so that award, sorry to cut you off, now that you mentioned it, I mean, it's been, on Instagram sites, it's been, reshared on sites that kind of reshare artwork and things like that, and it's been shared, published here and there, but yeah. I'm going to enter more contests.
Yeah, we talk about that too a lot because you're creating award-winning images. I mean, your images are going to clean house. They're also the type of images that win awards, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a very weird thing about awards, and I don't know how much you've really looked at, but every time I see an award category, I always go look.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of images, right? Mm-hmm. It is literally, there's a type of image that judges around the world like. It's your type of image. It's those images. Well, they like kind of fine art.
It's the fine art.
They like fine art message image. Like you can make the greatest picture of a guitar and they just could care less. You could take a really great sports photo and they're like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. But the type of photos that you're creating are what sell at galleries. They're what win awards. And you got to start entering some contests. I mean, literally. and some contests have like your first image to enter is free and then you pay for the rest. If you did nothing but enter free contests, you're going to clean house. You are going to clean house with that image.
Well, yeah, but that's why I think we haven't, we've looked at one of her images, but I think if we look at more of her images too.
I've seen two.
Really see it, right? So, you know, I've got your portfolio pulled up here.
Oh, let's go take a look.
See it?
Yeah.
But
so I recently won the a Sony Alpha Female grant, and I won that actually in January, and the grant was for producing self-portraits surrounding mental health during COVID. So that's the topic that I picked. And, you know, I entered as a self-portrait photographer. These were all images, this contest were for all women.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you. These contests was open to all female photographers in the United States. And there were 12 recipients of this grant, and I was the 10th winner. And, you know, I got a beautiful camera, I got a nice grant from it.
Wow.
And, yeah, it really, really, I mean, speaking of, that's a contest I would have never thought that I would have won. Only because the contest is open to so many people.
It is, but they're not as good as you. That's why you're winning. You're winning because your stuff is that good. This is great. All of this is great. I absolutely love it.
Thank you.
Your stuff is just, it's off the charts. It really is.
Yeah, so in addition to doing self-portraits, I also do, you know, portraits with models and you know, have fun with fashion and things like that. So, you know, it's not just self-portraits. Yeah, that one's called Freedom.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
Why can't I think of stuff like that? Eric, what's wrong with me?
I know, right?
I've got a camera. I could do stuff. I just don't have the ideas.
Do you guys want to hear something interesting? So I shot that in a kind of a white studio with a white sink wall.
Yeah.
And I was wearing a black tablecloth. And
Wow.
I flung it in the air behind me.
And it turned into birds?
It turned into birds magically. Wow.
No Photoshop.
No Photoshop at all.
No Photoshop.
Wow.
None at all.
These are just, you know what? You're doing it all. You've got great ideas and you have great execution. And what else is neat is that you can be the model in your own pictures. I'm not I'm not entering any selfies with pictures of me.
Well, that's why I started with self-portraits, because I started like photography about 5 years ago during I was going through a divorce, and I started self-portraits because I wanted to pick up the camera and shoot. Well, I didn't have a model readily available to me, and I didn't think I was good enough to have a model come in. My family and friends were all tired of me asking them to sit in front of my camera, so I just invented and tested on myself. I tested lights and I just started testing on myself, and then it kept developing and growing from there. And next thing you know, instead of writing in a journal, I would just use myself as a subject. I would make myself fly. I would, you know, there's an image I recently created where there's a cloud over my head and I'm wearing a COVID mask, and the cloud is just raining inside of my brain. And that one is about mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic. So a lot of what I feel or what I learn just through growth and pains of one, you know, going through life.
It is.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You know, I just express that in my work, in photography. So I do it more for myself. And I think that's really important.
This reminds me of Hilmar, because that's, you know, Hilmar is her own great subject.
Yes, I love her.
Like, right, I'm always impressed what different looks she's able to get, different things, and you're doing the same thing. So you're in great company, because Hilmar is a superstar,
She's
and so
awesome.
are you.
Thank you.
And I'm so impressed. I know I'm gushing. I'm sorry. I'm just so impressed. It's so cool to meet you. But and so this is your Instagram?
That is my Instagram, Maribel Photography.
All right.
And I'm also very inspired by fine art. I'm sorry, not fine art. I meant to say the painting style, old world painting styles, you know, Caravaggio and Vermeer and all that. So
Well, you could definitely see it in your work.
I
definitely
love
see
it.
the inspiration there, the sculpting of light and that kind of stuff, like that painterly type of sculpting a light. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you. I like to also take whatever I have in the house, like whatever I have laying in the house, and use it in a different way. And I also do that with my portraiture work, with models, not just with self-portraits, but I do that with models, you know, making dresses out of things that normally people would never think to make a dress out of. And just having fun, pushing yourself creatively.
Like a tablecloth?
A tablecloth, plastic, you know, whatevs, all that.
Well, and that's what's so cool. I mean, you know, so I know you're in town shooting a Kelby 1 class, and I got to see some behind the scenes stuff, and it is really cool when that class comes out to be able to see like what you're able to make with just, again, I look at it, it's just creativity and taking the time to think through it. It's not all about the money, right? Because that's the thing with photography and creating these award-winning images. It's not about like, let me go buy this really expensive dress or something like that. I mean, you're making something that is very obtainable, very affordable, but yet it takes that, it takes the being able to think creatively about what you're wanting your end result to look like. And
yeah,
I think that's
and
what's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't be afraid to fail. Keep trying.
Yeah.
And if it's,
Well, I'm doing great then. Okay, I've got that part. All right, so that, can we compartmentalize that?
Yes, yes.
I am crushing that part right there.
Me too.
All
Me
right.
too. Somebody commented that the other day on one of the things, said, "Oh, you know, Erik, you know, I love your work. I love every picture you post and something." And I was like, "No, trust me, there's some crap pictures. There's about 8,000 crap ones for every couple of good ones."
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's a process. It's
Yeah.
all a process,
Yeah.
right? It's like we're trying to get to the great one, and you can have a fantastic subject. You can stand in front of the Eiffel Tower, or you can stand in front of a professional model and take picture after picture after picture, and they're not the one. Like you know, this isn't right. And there is a thing about composition, and I'll talk about this for just a second. I know we're going to have to take a short break in a second, but there is an angle. I guess I'm just going to make this as simple as possible. There's an angle where everything looks its very best, where everything comes together,
Right.
where the light and the perspective and everything comes together. It doesn't usually happen when you walk right straight in front of whatever you're trying to shoot. Like sometimes you have to take 500 shots, and one of those, for whatever reason, like you're looking through, you're like, no, and all of a sudden, that's it. It's the same person and the same lighting and the same background and all, but at that particular moment, either their expression or their expression and the light and your angle, it all just, composition is when it all comes together and it makes something special. And like, I don't know how many shots that you took of the shot that we've been talking about today, but you know, there could easily be 100 or 200, but when you went through there, you were like, that's the one. And there is an art to that right there, being able to look at 100 images that are similar, 100 images you took on black cloth, but then your expression and the way you were holding your hands and the way the light was, you knew this is the one. Because you could have sent in a different shot.
100%.
But this is the one. And it is part of the art of being an artist, is to be able to look at a bunch of images that are very similar and go, nope, this is the one. And that's an art unto itself. Guys, I'm running way over here. Let's take a short one. I do want to mention that we're getting ready to show you something you may not have seen, which is the official trailer for my brand new iPhone photography book. So we talked about it briefly. We're giving away a copy, but take a look at the trailer here. Check it out.
Imagine if someone took the same photographic techniques and principles and tools used by today's top pro photographers, but they applied those same techniques to shooting with the iPhone. Imagine the type of images that you'd be able to create using those same ideas. Well, that's exactly what I did in my brand new book. It's called the iPhone Photography Book. You're going to learn exactly what the pros use to create those incredible images. And when people see your shots with the iPhone, they're going to go, I cannot believe you took these with your phone. But with the quality of the iPhone's camera and what they're doing with the iPhone software, you can absolutely take amazing pictures. In the book, I leave all the techno speak out, and instead I treat the whole book as if it were just you and I out on a shoot together, just you and me with our iPhones, and I'm there for just one reason, to help you unlock the power of your iPhone, so that you make pictures that when your friends and family look at it, they go, wait, you took this? That's what the whole book's about. You'll learn which tools to use to make pro-quality portraits in any lighting situation. You're gonna learn how to create stunning landscape shots that will make people swear that you took that with an expensive DSLR or a mirrorless camera. You're gonna learn proving posing techniques that flatter your subject and make anyone you photograph look their very best in every shot. You're gonna learn how to organize, how to edit your photos like a pro, and you're gonna learn the pros tips for making amazing shots of everything from flowers to product shots, from food photography to travel and everything in between. And if you're ready to start taking these pro-level shots that blow people's mind, then this is the book for you. It's in print and all the ebook formats, and you can get it directly from the publisher at rockynook.com, or you can pick up your copy wherever fine books are sold.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Yep.
Hey, we're back. I'm here. Eric's here. Maribel is here.
Hey.
And we're talking about creating award-winning images, and we're just kind of talking on the break about and I'm take her off screen so I don't embarrass her. So, because what I was saying was, just as is off screen, is so she has just an incredible gift, and it is talent and in creativity. And while you can teach, put the light here, and here's the window, and here's where to stand, you've got this talent, and you continue to develop it, and you can see that you're growing, and I can't wait to see what you do next, because you're going to be a real force in this industry. And that's why you're like, you got that Sony grant, because I'm sure thousands of people enter, but few are chosen.
Oh.
And there's a reason why you got that grant, and you're creating great images with it. And we're excited about your class. We're honored to have you here today. And I'm a huge fan. As soon as I get home, me and my wife, we're gonna hit your Instagram. We're following you now.
I'm so honored.
And it's great to see it. It really is. And it's also great to see you have, here you are out in the audience at Photoshop World and stuff, and now you're teaching a class, and we love to see that progression too. That's really cool. And you're great on camera, by the way.
Thanks.
You seem very at home in front of the camera. You're well, a lot of photographers are very weird on the other side of the camera. Like, we're used to having that little block.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, you don't know Maribel, you do not know what it took for me to get Erik to be my co-host.
Oh, yeah.
So Erik did not want to do this, because he's like, dude, I'm on the other side of it. And I'm like, no, you'll be fine. Come on. Because, I know Erik, we're friends offset.
Yeah.
And so, I know, just be that Erik you are when we go to lunch. Just put a table in front of you with a laptop, and you'll be that same thing. But you've got that same thing. You're on the other side of the camera, but you seem very comfortable in front of the camera.
Well, I do kind of spend a lot of time taking selfies.
Yeah. I don't. I seriously, I take no selfies.
Yeah, I have that problem too.
I take 0 selfies. Someone's going to have to take a picture of me, because I've seen myself. I don't like what guys see. I'm holding that thing up. I'm like, I got to get a new phone. There's not enough
Photoshop for this.
I got to get a new. There's not enough Photoshop in the world to fix this.
Well, believe it or not, I actually really do not like taking cell phone selfies. I'm so uncomfortable taking cell phone selfies. But sitting in front of a camera, sitting in front of a video camera, filming.
Yeah,
I'm here all day.
There you go. Awesome.
I love your confidence too. Gosh, you're awesome. All right. So one thing we wanted to talk about today was something that came up this past week. Hold on, there's a little water here. I wrote a blog post on Monday.
Monday, yes.
Hold on one second. I'm going to cough. So turn off my mic, and Erik will tell you about my blog post from Monday.
Basically, this actually came from, if we could go over here, this actually came from, we were talking about, we've been doing the blind critiques, And, there was, some people that, were kind of like, had some opinions about the blind critiques. And so that's where this kind of came from. So maybe, Scott, if you...
Yeah. So,
wanna pick it up from there.
what I wrote a post about is number one, what are blind critiques? Why should we do them? And basically, I'm going to make this, when someone says, when I do the next call next month, so every month we do two things. We do a blind photo critique, and then we do a how would I edit your photo. When I call out for the next blind photo critique, I'm going to send them to the article that's on my blog right there. You see it. What can you expect from a photo critique? And I'm going to go, read this first before you send in your thing. Because I think some people that send in their critiques, and I wrote this in the post. In fact, if you scroll down, I think it's in a quote. Just go a little further. Go down a little further. Keep going. You'll see a quote. It's a big quote right there.
Huge. There.
Oh no, that's not. I'm sorry. That wasn't the quote I was thinking of. Sorry, but this is a really good quote.
Actually, I love this. This is actually where, when we were talking about it, this is what we zoned in on.
Right. And this kind of ties into what we were talking about Maribel's photo. So I believe that this is that Joe McNally told me that Jay said this, and I think that's where I'm trying to attribute the quote, but
we're not sure.
Your
it's
image,
one of the basically those guys.
I think it's Jay.
It's one
and
of
I think
those
it
guys.
is, and it says your image has to stand on its own. If it's hanging in a gallery, you're not going to be standing beside it to tell everybody that comes by, oh, this is really better than it looks because here's what it means to me, and here's what it made into making it. You shouldn't have to explain your shot. It's either a good photo or it's not. And when we were talking about Maribel's photo a minute ago, it's a great shot without knowing anything about it.
And that's the key there, right? So I think where people get confused sometimes is the cart before the horse. Like, they want to explain the photo, give you all the intention they had with making the photo.
So then you'll like it.
Right. Where it's like, first and foremost, it's a photo. That is a snapshot in time where you've frozen a moment for people to enjoy and see. And it's all the things that went into making the photo that make it, that what it was printed and how it looks without your explanation, that's the photograph, right? With like what, and I was thinking this when Maribel was telling us her story the minute. It got better, yes, when she started explaining it, but it didn't make it a better photo.
No, you know what it is?
It just got better story.
I respected the process.
Yes.
So I love the photo.
Stands on its
I would
own.
buy the photo. I would hang the photo. I would give it all kinds of awards. In fact, we did. But based on the photo. Now, when you told me what you went into it, I find that interesting. And I find that fascinating. And it makes me admire the artist.
Right.
But it doesn't change the photograph. The photograph
and that's what people
fantastic
have.
as it is.
People do have this problem because what happens is we're taking photographs a lot of times when we're out on family vacations, when we're with loved ones, when there's more to that photo. This is my newborn niece who it's got to be beautiful. It's so beautiful to me, but it's just a snapshot.
Right.
But see, it's that thing of you have this attachment. Or this was our parents' 50th wedding anniversary and we're all on vacation together and look at how beautiful it was. It's like, it's still just a snapshot.
Yeah.
But to you, it was more because you saw all that other stuff that went into the photo.
So I have a story about this. So there's a photographer that we know, Maribel, and you may know him as well, but he's a photographer that's a friend of ours. And he had this one particular picture in his portfolio, and he shows it all the time, and it's like he's really enamored with it, and it's horrible. It's a horrible shot. It's just so bad, and we all talk about it. Other photographers in our industry go, God, did he show that shot again? Like, it's well known in our industry, this shot sucks. So one day we went to him, literally locked the door and said, we are here to do a portfolio intervention. We are not leaving this room until you remove that photo from your portfolio. So what do you think this photographer said? He said, but I love that photo. Yes, we know that you love this photo.
Right.
What is it that you see in this that nobody else sees? And this is a big issue, and this is what Erik was just talking about. So, Maribel, what I think it was, I think in his mind, he always wanted to take that kind of photo. So he actually saw somebody else's photo of this thing, not of the exact place, but of this area. And he thought, I want a photo like that one day. And one day he got a photo kind of like it. And to him, it has emotion. Maybe I know he was shooting with another buddy that day. And maybe it was just a beautiful day. And they had the greatest time. And they had some great pie for lunch. And they're out there shooting and everything's great. And when he sees that shot, it has an emotional response to him. I've always wanted to make this shot. I had pie. I was with a friend. The weather was great. It was a great weekend. I was so happy. And that photo, it says all of that to him. You know what it says to me and everybody else? This is a stupid shot. This is stupid. Get it out of your portfolio. Now, we have another photographer that we're going to have to do this with. And it's a famous photographer. And he has this one shot that he shows all the time. He talks about it. He references it. It's terrible. And we're going to have this. We're not going to make you do it, Maribel. You do not have to worry. You do not.
I am well aware of this. And I learned, the hard way myself is this is exactly why whenever I shoot models or even myself, I never look at the image that same day or even the following day. I never review the images the same day or the following day. I always wait at least 2 days. That way I can look at the images and cull through them with a fresh eye, where the emotions of the day are gone, where the, the rush and the feel-good feelings from that day are gone. And even if it was a terrible shoot, sometimes I walk out of my shoots and I just think to myself, man, I just didn't get anything. I looked in the back of my camera while shooting and I just wasn't feeling it. I just didn't get anything, right? And on the drive home, I'm like, man, I wish I could have done better. I look at the images 2 or 3 days later and I'm like, holy crap, these are awesome. Like, what was I talking about? These are great. So looking at them with a fresh eye.
She just gave you a great tip for creating award-winning images right there.
Absolutely.
I've heard photographers that do that. Now, I'm not saying this.
I do that. I do that same thing.
Okay, I don't. I want to tell you something. And I'm not trying to be self-deprecating here. I'm just being truthful. Mine is the opposite. I do a shoot. I think I nailed it. I can't wait to see the photos. I go home and look at them immediately and I'm disappointed. Because I'm excited during the shoot and everything's going and we're flowing and things are happening and we're laughing and having a great time. I look at the images while they're coming into Lightroom and I think, man, this is going incredible. I go home and I look and I'm like, gosh, I thought these were going to be better.
That's interesting because I
need to follow your advice.
I do like that because I do, one style that I shoot is photojournalism. So what I've kind of taken this mindset is I load them in, I pick out what I think, and then send it off to the editor. But then if I'm actually editing the photos for me, or I'm looking at the photos for me, I usually do that like a week later. Because like you're saying, you take that emotion out of, oh, that was so loud for me. It was like that launch was so loud, or people were so jazzed, and it kind of takes you out of that moment. Or that Milky Way, oh, it was so great and all that, but then a couple days later, you're just looking at it like, is this a good photo or not? Was this like, you're kind of taking yourself out of that emotion of the shoot.
Yeah, it helps you to see things
clear. I see
clear.
what you're saying, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, there was a point that I wanted to make, and I'm going to go look it up on the break here because it was from that post on Monday. That is going to be required reading for anybody submitting images for Glowing Critiques.
Yeah, maybe we should put a submission, like a checkbox, when they
I read that post, and I understand what I'm asking for.
And then I'm not a robot below it.
And I'm not a robot. I love that. You know what I love it? I love it when you fail the I'm not a robot test. When
I've done that before. I've been like, I'm a robot.
How many street lights are in this picture?
So
and I go, there's 3. 1, 2, 3. And it's like, no, try again. I'm like, come on.
Well, I take it like maybe that's my problem is I'm too robotic with that because it'll say which one's a crosswalk and I'll select every little piece a crosswalk is in and I think it's like well there's a little corner in that one so I got to select it and then I'm a robot.
Yeah, I'm unhappy with the person that makes those.
I am not a robot.
We're going to take a short break and we're going to talk some more about all of this right after this. So come back for more stuff in just a minute.
Would you believe us if we told you that you could fit studio lighting in your pocket? Well, Lytra has made it possible. Lytra is a global award-winning brand that designs and manufactures professional-grade camera lights that are compact, rugged, and waterproof. Whether you're using Lytra gear in a photo studio or underwater, Lytra's mission is to provide content creators with flexible and unlimited lighting tools that can mount on any camera, anywhere. Their lights come with a high CRI or color rendering index, making them some of the most color accurate lights in the industry. Due to the light's compact and rugged design, photographers are able to use the lights in ways that their studio lighting never could. Lytra has also made multiple lighting accessories available to fit your every need as a creator. Whether you're shooting portraits, nailing a product shot, or even flying your drone, they have got you covered. Lytra enables photographers and filmmakers to focus on their craft and create something beautiful. What will you create?
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Make sure you don't miss any episodes of The Grid by subscribing to Apple's podcast app or iTunes. It's free, and we even have a special audio-only version too. So sign up today.
All right, hey, we are back. Scott, Erik, and Maribel.
On the break. A lot of chatter on the break.
A lot of chatter. We're chatting it up on the break there. It's very chatty. We're a very chatty crowd today. All right, I found the quote that I wanted to read from that. We got some prizes and stuff to go with, and we still got a little bit more. But I found the quote, and what it was some people got upset, right? They're like, "Oh man, you were harsh on my image and stuff." The first thing is, there's a reason we do blind critiques. We just don't do photo critiques and say, this is, all right, here comes Cindy Smith's images. We do blind critiques, and this is the truth. Nobody around you is going to tell you the truth about your photography. Your spouse isn't going to look at you one day and go, you need to sell your gear. You're just not very good, honey. I'm sorry. You're a bad photographer. Your kids aren't going to come to you and say, Dad, stop taking pictures. Mom, you're horrible. You're not going. They might say, Mom and Dad, you're horrible, but not in context of your photography. So your coworkers, do you really think someone at your work is going to go, you're showing me these photos and they're just trash? No one's going to tell you. Who is it that's going to go, look, your stuff's just not that good? So we do blind critiques, not so we can tell you you're not good, because we tell a lot of people they're good. We get a lot of good photographers that submit images. There are times, and I wrote about this in the article, where people's stuff come in and all we can say is, dude, you're nailing it, keep going, don't change a thing. Right?
Yeah.
Like she's just, like for example, if you said in your work, we would just be like, what? Okay.
Keep on going.
So there are plenty of
You're down
people
the path.
that send in their work and we just don't say anything. So Maribel, if you ever submit, expect the shortest critique ever, which is your stuff's great, don't change a thing, let's move on. So, but there are people that submit, and I think that in their mind, well, I'm going to read you the quote, right? So they don't really want to hear the truth. Here's what it is. I said, I guess what they should say when they're submitting their image is this. Here are my images for your blind critique. I think they're really good, but if you don't agree, I don't want to hear that and I won't accept it. So please only critique them on air if you think they're really good and you want to heap praise on me. That's not asking for a critique. Mm-hmm. A critique is what's wrong with it. If you look up, it's a critical look at your images, right? And again, when we do these critiques, it's just our opinion. But if you submitted it, you asked, what do you think of my shots? And so we tell what the good and the bad is. And if you're seeing something in your photo, some emotional thing or something that we're not seeing, we're not judging it on it was your birthday and you and your fiance were walking hand in hand on the beach and the breeze was blowing and steel drum music was playing in the background. Like, we don't see any of that. We're just like, yeah, it's another beach sunset. Yep, we've seen it before. It's like a snapshot. Anybody standing there on the beach that day would have got the same shot. So if you're shooting, a sunset or what it is shooting, we're not seeing all that. We don't see the emotion. We don't see the magic. We don't see your fiance. All we see is the photo, and that's all we can judge it by, because you're not standing there to tell us why it's better than it is.
Well, and there's a big difference there. Like, there's nothing wrong with snapshots. You got to understand too. Like we need memories, right? Because there is a thing, and that's where I definitely use my iPhone heavily for this, right? That there's a smell in the air. there's a breeze, there's a feeling. You're out with your family or you're out with your loved ones, and I need to capture this moment to kind of like just freeze it. And that's when we say snapshot. It's just like, I needed to capture this moment. I needed to freeze it. Now, and my wife knows this, like sometimes I'll be like, hold on, give me like 5 minutes. And that means I'm not taking a snapshot. I see something here where I'm gonna actually take a photo. And that's the big difference, is it's usually, hold on, I know this is annoying, but I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Right. And by the way, Mary Bell, when we say snapshot,
I know exactly what you mean.
We're referring to a quality of shot, not the camera it was taken on.
Yep.
You can take amazing photos with the iPhone.
Absolutely.
Just
or Android.
Crazy. Or Android phone.
Yeah.
No, not an Android phone. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, with your phone.
For sure.
Whatever phone you have, you can take amazing photos with it.
Yeah.
Because think about it. Today's phones, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, whatever it is, they have higher resolution and better things that you can do with them than years ago was the very best camera. I remember spending thousands on a 6 megapixel camera. I remember having a Nikon, what was it? A D2X.
When we launched Kelby Training, I remember when we launched Kelby Training, the fanciest Nikon and Canon camera was 7 megapixels.
Yeah, like that was like
And that was like the $8,000 one. That
and
was
the
like
noise.
Oh my gosh.
The noise was fun. I had a 1DX.
gosh.
No, it was a Canon 2DX, I think it was called. Or a,
1DX Mark II?
no, that's Canon. It was a Nikon.
No. I don't know.
Like, you know how you have D2,
Well, it was
D2X.
D2X.
It was the D2X. That was the noisiest thing I've ever seen. You could shoot at 100 ISO in broad daylight, and it was like someone poured noise on top of it. That camera was trash. I couldn't wait to get rid of it. In fact, I was leaving Nikon, and I was with a buddy of mine who worked for Nikon, and I said, I got to tell you, I shot a sports game with a Canon, and I'm thinking I'm leaving. And he said, Scott, we got something coming out that's going to be great with low noise and all the things that you hate about your current camera. I wouldn't ask you this if it wasn't, I'm telling you as a friend, it's going to blow you away. And it was the Nikon D3, and he was right. And so I stayed with Nikon for quite a while. I eventually did switch to Canon, but I was going to switch years before I did. And he was like, you got to stick with me on this. It's that good. And he was right. It was phenomenal. It was everything he said it would be, and it was a groundbreaking camera for the time. But the camera right before it that was like $6,000 was trash. Yep. It was awful. Your phone will take amazing photos. So the point is, a snapshot means a shot that looks like a kid took it with their phone, and it's not a kid that's a good photographer. It's just like, here, stand there, click, yeah, that's fine. That's a snapshot. What Erik's talking about is shooting with intention.
Right.
I'm going to try to take a really good picture, just like you talked about earlier, where you're shooting with intention. You're not just snapping something off. So.
Yeah, and I also think, with blind critiques, I just want to say that whoever submits to blind critiques, you're so brave.
It is brave.
It's really hard to get and to submit your images and be vulnerable to say, hey, here's my image, tell me what you think about them. But also, it's really hard to accept that feedback. But that's where you grow. If you're submitting an image for a blind critique and you're really looking for validation, then there's no point in you sending that image in for a blind critique, because the purpose of it is to find things that you did right, wonderful, but also things where you can improve and apply that to the next images that you're going to do. So kudos to those who submit to blind critiques. I would say keep submitting, because that's the way that everyone grows. And truth hurts, but without the truth, we won't grow and evolve.
Right. If you submit your photos and we just say, yeah, they're all good.
Yeah.
How does that make you better? How does that improve anything?
Well, and so we're just all transparency here too. Like, the reason we keep on doing them is because 9 times, probably 90 sometimes out of 100, there is more people that are saying, I learned so much, I learned from them, I learned from the critique, I learned from seeing other people's critiques. That's why we keep on doing them. There are those people every once in a while that Scott's talking about, but most people take it for what it is, and actually, like Maribel's saying, they take it and improve and build upon it. So that's why
I want to take that, what you just said, Maribel. I want to take that whole thing that you just said. I'm going to go to the grid. I'm going to snip out that piece. I'm going to add it to that blog post.
Do it.
Because what you just said is so right on the money. It was like, look, if you just wanted validation, it doesn't make you any better, right? If we just say, yeah, it's good, Now sometimes the photos are so good that Erik and we're at a loss to tell them what to make it better. Like, we're looking at it and we're like,
a lot of times, like, I guess you could have maybe done.
Like we're struggling to come up with something.
Maybe.
But a lot of times we feel like we can really help. And by helping, we point out all the things that are wrong with it. Yeah, the horizon line's crooked. You should have cropped it tighter. You need better light. You need directional light. You need this. There's plenty of times where it's very obvious and easy. And honestly, there's also the opposite. Sometimes the photos are so bad that when I see them before they go on the air and I realize there's nothing I can say constructive here. There's like anything that I would say is just going to be like, you know what? You're not really a photographer. You shouldn't, don't even keep watching this show. You don't have, and there are people that are like that. They just have no talent. There's just people that, it doesn't mean that everyone picks up a camera is talented.
Well, but then that goes to a different thing. Like, if you enjoy photography and you think that your images, that they're good for you and all that stuff, that's great.
That's
fine. That's where you just have to like stop there. It's just don't submit your images thinking they're great and then get upset when you hear they're not great. I mean, but if you enjoy it, like, enjoy it.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not saying stop photography.
Awesome.
What I'm saying is, you're not a photographer. You're someone taking snapshots. And I have 14,000 snapshots on my phone of just the kids and families and vacations and like, look at this steak, just crazy stuff. And those are great. And those are very valuable to me, even though they're not great shots, because they're the visual history of our lives. It's very important to do that. But when you're watching a photography show, you're investing your time and you're sending in your images to be evaluated, I'm assuming you're trying to be a photographer. I'm assuming you think your stuff's at a certain level and you're ready to be critiqued and you want to move to the next level. But sometimes I look at them and I'm like, I don't know what I would even say. I don't want to just say your stuff's trash, kid, uninstall. I don't want to just blast them, but I also want to be honest with them, and I want them to, I can tell you, I've had some of the most harsh critiques in person where it's not just a blind critique, where I'm sitting with one of these top pros. And I had one, I wrote about this in the article, where the guy's looking at my stuff and he goes, what is this doing in here? What the hell were you, why is this? Like, he couldn't even imagine what the thought process was in my head, why that photo was in my portfolio. Like, it was that bad. And you know what I said, Maribel? I looked at him and I said, hey, it's not in there anymore. And when he left the room, I went and deleted it, and it has never seen the light of day since that day.
Yeah.
I was seeing something in that photo he wasn't seeing.
Right.
Like, I'm looking at it, I think, this is good, it should be in my portfolio. And he's like, this is trash. But honestly, I said from the beginning, with everyone that's ever done a portfolio critique with me, just tell me the truth. Don't worry about hurting my feelings. I will not get better unless you tell me what's wrong. If you just go, everything's good,
right.
I'm no better. And those critiques that they gave me, like, the reason I even shoot any sports with remotes, and I put remote cameras everywhere. I mount remotes in the ceiling of stadiums. I put it aiming at second base for baseball. I put them as the team's running out. I mounted them on goalposts. The reason why
those are your iconic shots a lot of times.
And they came from a portfolio review from Dave Black, who asked me, why aren't you doing any remote stuff? Why aren't you doing that? And I'm like, I don't really know how to do it. He's like, are you crazy? He's yelling at me.
And I'm like, do it.
I said, and so literally 2 days later, I had a baseball game and I set up my first remote.
Right. But then that's what you do, is you took that feedback, you improved upon it, and then you went like way off the charts with it.
Sorry.
And then I remember, like, you were like, setting up a remote up here and setting up a remote
I
up
had
here.
5
like,
remotes at the NFC Championship game.
So how do we get a remote on the tunnel when the fireworks are going off?
Yeah.
And talking to the
Oh,
guys,
yeah.
like you just went to the nth degree. But that's the thing is that, like, you had somebody who you respect, who you look at their work and you go, well, obviously, if they're telling me to do this, I need to do it.
Yeah, it grew out of that. But
You
that's
know?
how we grow. That's what you said a minute ago.
Yeah.
We don't grow from affirmation. We grow from suggestions like you should try this or you should look at that. And hopefully yours won't be as harsh as mine were, you know. And mine were from people that were friends of mine. Like these are people that are friends. Like we're friends outside of business. Like we're buddies. But they're such great photographers and I just respected their opinions. And I took all of their advice. There wasn't anything where I go, no, I disagree. I was like, holy crap, I better fix this. I better start doing that. I better need to, you know, there was all these things. And it was portraits, it was travel, it was landscapes, it was, I mean, I've had it done numerous times with different people, one-on-one, just going through my stuff. And, but I want to leave you with one bit of advice because we're way over. Just want to say, when you do choose someone to do your portfolio review, choose someone that not only your opinion, that you respect their opinion, but that you trust that they're doing it for the right reasons. It does not move me forward to tell you bad things about your photographs. But there are people out there who would love to tell you your stuff's crap so that they take you and they move you down and they they feel like they're moving themselves up. I don't feel like that at all. I don't think I think that you raise yourself by raising others, not by putting them down. So when I see another photographer's work, and I may be frustrated. You'll see Erik and I frustrated on the grid. Like why are you doing this? Why don't you see these things? Why? It's frustration because we want you to be better. We know that if you make better pictures, it will make you happy. It does make us happy when we see progress. When you see results, it makes us all happy. We want to move forward and we want to be taking better pictures. We want to we'll enjoy our work. But it's just like if I hand you a saxophone and you honk out a bunch of stuff that sounds terrible, you're not going to enjoy the sax very much. When you finally play a few notes that sound good, you're going to enjoy it. When you play that song and it sounds great, it moves you to another level. We want to do that with your photography. So if Erik and I sometimes seem frustrated on the show or we're very frank with somebody, it's because we just want to shake you and go, fix this. The horizon line's crooked. Come on, it's a basic thing, you know. It's like we want to go shake you.
Yeah. And also, I just want to quickly say, if you're getting feedback that your photos are not good, right? And you feel discouraged and you just want to quit as a photographer, I say don't quit. You keep shooting. If that's what you love, keep shooting. Maybe you can create another piece of art with that. Maybe you can print all those crappy photos, print them and make like an art piece with it. Make a collage, you know, make an installment with them. Maybe use them in a different way, like on clothes or cut them, you know. Just be creative. You can use photography as a tool to do something else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, you have got to come back to the grid. You've got to come back. You don't live that far away, right?
Nope. Orlando.
Oh, you just have to come back. We'll just pick any topic. It doesn't matter. You just hang out right over there.
Anytime.
And then when the COVID and we all have our vaccines and everything, we can all be on the big desk together. Look, we've got 3 mics. You could be right here. You're just so great. So thank you so much for being our guest. And we're going to find out more about you in just a second. Erik, let's wrap up with some prizes real quick.
Prizes. So we got Brandon Moon has won your iPhone book. So, and then Zach Hewitt is winning the Boris Effects. Then we have Carolyn Raincourt is winning the Platypod. So if you guys just email gridprize@kelby1.com, they'll verify your information and then send you out the prize. So there we go.
All right. Well, there we go. So, Maribel, where can people go learn more about you and your work?
So you can find me on my website, maribelphotography.com, on Instagram under Maribel Photography, all one word, and that's Maribel, MARYBEL Photography. And I also have a YouTube channel, Maribel Maribel Photography. And I do some speed edits there and do some behind the scene shoots and things like that. I shoot it myself, so nothing fancy, but it's there.
Cool. I think it's great that you do it at all. So thank you so much again.
Thank you.
You were an awesome guest, and
Thank you.
we definitely want to have you back. We're just going to pick some other topics, so just be prepared to come over and hang out.
Okay.
And we'll tell you what the topic is when you get here.
Sure.
All right. Mr. Kuna, anything to add, or are we going to wrap up?
I think we're wrapping up.
All right. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to Mary Bell for coming all this way. Thanks to my crew here for coming in today and working with us on the grid. We appreciate it very much. And from all of us to you, we'll see you guys next week. Stay happy and healthy. We'll catch you then.